Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this first online Teams demo. I'm hoping you can all hear me and you can all follow along on your screens. So this is our first time using the Microsoft Teams Live event tool to broadcast a training event in these weird and wonderful times. So welcome to my house. It's just me here, so there won't be anybody embarrassing walking past or anything like that. I want to focus on this morning onto something specific and go through Microsoft Teams with you all, as that seems to be the tool that lots of schools are using. Certainly it's one that we're recommending for staff and students to use to keep in touch. It's quite a big program with a lot of functionality in there, and that functionality differs between people who are teachers and those who are using it just to keep in touch with others within the organisation in these times. So we're going to show you some of the options within there, and we'll be using this version here. So this is the web version. You can install the version onto your machine very easily. There's a button down the corner here in the bottom left hand corner saying download the desktop app. That will download the fully fledged version of it onto your computer. But if that's not possible for restrictions or anything like that, then you can use it all from the web browser. I'll just take you back a step just so you can see how to get to it. So you log into Office 365 as normal, and you've got a lovely button up here called Teams. If you can't see the Teams button up here, then click on All Apps and go through to it that way. So once within Teams, there's a few different screens within there, and I'm just going to take you through them each individually to introduce them at this point. So on your left-hand side is where the majority of your options are. So your activity feed shows you everything that you've been doing and where you've been mentioned. The chat rooms allows you to create chats with other individuals throughout the school and those outside of it as well using guest accounts. So we'll be able to show you that as well. Your Teams. This is the hub of everything, so the teams that you're part of, and you can have your different channels. So we'll explain what teams are, explain what channels are as well. For those who are teaching, we'll show you about assignments, how you can find a class, give them homework, collect that back in, have discussions and so forth. We'll also show you the integration with your Outlook calendar and how you can create new events, new meetings. This is particularly important for those who are looking for management meetings across their trust or across their school, and how to include them in that as well. We'll be skipping the calls mainly because we can cover that in other areas, and none of our schools currently use this tool here to be able to phone externally, so we can cover everything else in that as well. And we'll go through the files option here as well. So we're going to start off by going into the chat functionality and how we can use that. So if you remember back in the day, you've got your MSN Messenger. You can use Teams very much like that. It is a live chat portal. The important thing for schools to know is that it is all auditable, and it is all kept in the Microsoft Office 365 portal for you to go through the information there and look at it in the future if you needed to. There's been lots of discussions by schools about if this is a safe and secure environment to use and should they turn on the chat ability. But my personal feeling on it is that I'd rather have children using tools like Teams that are relatively safe, although not completely safe, compared to other systems that aren't, and perhaps they shouldn't even be using because of their age, depending on the school that they're in as well. So on the chat, you've got on the left hand side your conversations. I'm using a new test account, so I don't have any current communication here, but that allows me to start a new one. So up the top here, I can do new chat, and within this I can type names of people that I want to chat to. So I'm going to start typing, and I see people in my organisation. So there's Anne, and I'll also add in Dan, who are two people that I work with, and I've added them both in just like I would in emails, and here's my chat window with them. So within my chat window, I can send them a chat, and hopefully they'll see it and be able to respond, and I can very easily have that ability in there. Now down the bottom I've got a few options down here, so I can play with the format of my text to make it look different when I've written something. So if I write something and then highlight it, I can press the font button and format it all in that area if I want to as well. I can also highlight text as well using the text highlighter option there as well, and I can also use my delivery options. If I just come out of that there for a minute, There we go, so hands playing along there. I can use my delivery options here. So when I click on this, the message that I send will go into one of these two ways. So important, message will be marked as important, and so they'll stand out a bit more. But the urgent one will ping them for 2 minutes, for 20 minutes to get their attention. So it's very useful, particularly if you've got a class and they might be doing other things. It will ping on their device until they pay attention to it. Remember, they can use Teams on their mobiles, their iPads, or a host of other devices as well. So it is worth looking at that to get people's attentions, or just to annoy them if that's what you want to do. I can quickly attach files into my chat room here so everybody can see them. I can use emojis, and obviously I can use them on my mobile device or through onto here as well. Some of them are animated up there as well. So if we do the big hello face there, it is animated along for them to see. And you'll see this little tick here next to the message that shows that it's been sent. On one-to-one conversations, you can see that whether the person has read them, so it's a message read on there if they've got that setting turned on there on as well. You can also use Jiffy, and this is to share different GIFs of just to lighten up some communication there. And you can use them for whatever you want, so you can just put them straight in. This one seems a bit apt at the moment, so we'll put that one into the chat there. And there's obviously no toilet roll left in the world, so that's quite an apt one at the moment as well. Put in stickers if we wanted to. And we can also use this button here to schedule a meeting. So this is quite good to quickly jump to the schedule meeting. It's important to note that the schedule meeting and anything that you schedule in Teams is linked into your Office 365 calendar. So if I create it here, I don't have to go and recreate it in Outlook. I can do it all from here. So straight away, it's included the 2 people that are within my team that I want in this meeting, and it will include them in it there as well. So I can set my dates down here, my time, or it can be an all day, and I can do a repeat event as normal. I could put it into a channel if I wanted to, so that everybody in that channel will be able to see it and join it. And I can also put in any extra information. Obviously, you don't have to put a location in if it's a digital one as well. So I can just click send, and that would invite them to my meeting. If I come back out, I can see that Anne's done that. And if I hover over it, I can then give some feedback on my post. So I can, on her post, sorry, I can give her a thumbs up and see whether she likes it, whether it's liked and everything up in there as well. So there are some other bits down here. We've got the Microsoft Stream integration. Everything that you do through Teams and Teams meeting can be recorded to stream. We're going to cover that in more detail on a future event, but it's worthwhile knowing that you can save a meeting and watch it back later on, particularly if you're a teacher and you want children to go back over a lesson. So when I share my screen like I'm doing now, and I've got me next to it, they can also go through that on their devices as well. And watch it back when they're ready. I can also give praise. So if I think somebody in my team's done particularly well, I can give them some of this praise here. And I can say that I think Dan, let's go for Anne as well. They're both team players. And I can put a little note in there as well. Oh, window. You can preview it and click send, and then in there. So if you're teaching and learning in a lesson, that's quite a good way there to give them some feedback and let them know how you're getting on. So they'll get that message and be able to follow it. So I can see here as well, I've got the little indicators next to the names at the top. It shows me if those people are available. That's also based off the calendar as well. And I can quickly start a chat with them, send them an email, start a video call, or start an audio call. Now, if I want to start a meeting with these guys, I'd literally click up here on the video call button, and it would start a video call with them. So let's see if I can do that, if I can do that twice at once. Let's have a look. So I'm able to call up here and it uses my device. I'm not sure that they're going to answer, but they might do. And they'll be available to answer the call. I think they're watching what we're doing, so they probably won't, but that's how quickly it is. Just while I've got these buttons in front of us, here we go. Here's Dan. Welcome to the live showing here, Dan. He's been brave and left his camera off. We can see down the bottom here the options to turn the camera off, to turn the microphone off, and we can see the options down here for the sharing of the screens as well. So that's Dan there, who was having his lunchtime nap, and he's live to 23 people now, so he probably doesn't know what's happening. So he obviously doesn't know what's happening, so we'll hang up on him there, stopping any further embarrassment. But you can see within the screens at the moment, you can quickly share your screen as well, and I'll come on to that more in a minute as well. So if I want to click up here to a video call or an audio call, I can do both of those up the top there. Okay, so that's the general chat screen. You can see on the left hand side, your chats will come up, and as I say, you can create as many of those as you want to, and then you can filter them through. You can also right click and you can mute if you've got a big chat up there with multiple people, or you can hide it or pin it depending on if it's an important one for you. So you can do everything that you need to do up there as well. Moving on to the teams. So you'll be part of a team, or if you're a staff member in our organisations, you'll be able to create a team. And basically, a team is a group. So up the top right hand side here, you've got the join or create team option. If you go through that, you can join an existing team. Or if you've got the rights, you can create a new team. The only people to have rights are teachers, and we'll cover creation of teams in another session. But you can do it using groups or inviting individual people to it. Okay. So I'm only part of one team in this group. So this is my Lords IT person here. So this is my team group. I can see who my team are. I can see what's happening along here as well, where I've got all my different people who've been added and everything that I've got. So it puts all those informations in there as well. On the left hand side, I can see the general help requests and on-site team and technical team. So these are our channels, and you can set up different channels within your team, and it's more of a static conversation rather than the fast moving world of chats. So you can create these, so you can add a channel using the 3 dots eclipse at the top there and click add channel, and when you create a channel, you put in some information. So you can put some stuff there, and then you've got this standard accessible to everyone on the team or only accessible to specific people on there. So set that as you wish. I'm going to make this available to everybody and add this into the screen here. So this is my channel. So the difference between channel and chats is here. If I go hello, I've got the option to reply to it. So it's not going to be lost on the screen like it is on chat. So we've recently started using this as an example for where people are asking lots of questions. So we can see here that we've got the different channels on here, and we just literally put in the add additional comments and reply to those rather than in the fast moving world of a chat screen. These are also allows you to connect it to other apps. Some play nicely with it, and you can also email a channel as well. So if you CC that in an email, the channel will get a copy of the email as well. So that's quite good to see. If we check over testing, we can see that on queue, Tom and Jacob are both watching this and part of this, and then we can respond to what they're doing on the screen and put in more conversation. There's Edward, and we'll go angry there just to show a different way of doing things. So you can be part of one team and have multiple channels, or you can be part of multiple teams and have multiple channels. You can also, along the top here, add on individual screens. So this is really useful within your channel if you use something that is really used quite a lot. So we use our help desk. For example, I can click on add a tab and I can add in a document library from SharePoint, a particular Excel document that I want everybody to see. You can get your Power BI screens up on there if that's got some of your metrics on that you want people to keep in. Planner, bring that into the fray as well. Planner will allow you to see the jobs and stuff that you've got to do. It could be as simple as a Word document or website. So for example, for this, I want to put a website in there, and if I just add that. Okay. And that's all done. Up the top here, I can see that I've got my website built into my channel there, so it's really easy to get that in, and it really brings this whole thing together of Teams being the central hub for everything on the network. So that is how to use channels, and I can go into more detail of that if anybody likes in the future as well. Okay, so moving on to assignments. So if you are a teacher or learner, you're going to want to set assignments through Teams. It makes your life a lot easier. There are some more help information available about this. If you click the information here, you can read through how to do it, and you join or create your team. You choose a type that you want, so you choose a class team in this situation, and then you'd enter your information into the boxes. So you'd have either multiple owners or multiple students. Now, to put in students, if you're at school with Salamander or you've already set up a group with all your students in it, you can add it into Office 365 just by typing in the group name, where it asks you to invite people to it. If you've got Salamander, it will link in with Sims, so you can use the term classes or form to search for a particular class or form group and use their Sims code to put them into there. If not, you're going to have to list all your students in there, I'm afraid. It's not great, but it's the quickest way to get them in there. Okay, so if you're a student, you'll only be able to see the classes in this point that you've been assigned to. Because I'm neither on this demo, I'm probably going to have to circle back around to using this as another demo in the future to show you how to start using the class in there. So for now, I'll skip over that. But as I did put in the warning, this is the first time that we've done it, so it's just worth testing around what we can do and everything like that. So the main thing that I was asked to do this about was for people to learn how to create meetings, and particularly meetings across different schools within a trust. So up the top here, the all-important new meeting button. Okay, so if you click on the right-hand drop-down, you've got the option for a scheduled meeting or a live event. Now, unless you've got an A5 license, which nobody has in any of our schools, you can't do a live event such as this, but we can assign that to you if you want. It's about £80 a year, so you can add that on and do sessions like this. But if you want to schedule a meeting, then you press the schedule meeting button, and it's just like the screen that we saw on earlier on in the conversation. So you add in all your details. Now, it's really important here when you add required attendees that you put in the address that you want the email to go to and that they'll use to log into Office 365 if they've got a different account somewhere else. If they don't have an Office 365 account elsewhere, that doesn't matter, they can still be invited to it. But if you are sending it to them, it will need to be the account that they're logged into. So some people in some schools have multiple accounts. I suggest you do it to their local account. So for example, at the RSA, if you've got the different heads in the different schools, you want to invite them using their main school email address and not their central ones. Same within Lords Multi Academy. You want to send that to their individual school accounts that they're already logged onto on their devices, and not the central accounts that they've got as well. So the likely account they're going to be logged into Office 365. If they get it and it doesn't work, then the first thing to suggest is that they log out of Office 365 completely and they log in using the account that you sent it to. So underneath, obviously, I can put in my times and everything else I need to do. I can put it into repeat if I want to. And again, I can put in some details in there for everybody. Once they get that, I'm just going to show you how you can use that. So I'm just going to fire up my emails. And I'm just going to put that screen live. Okay. So this is my busy work week this week, and what you can see here is I've got the new Teams meeting button up the top as well. So I can do this inside Outlook as well, and when I come and press the new Teams meeting button within Outlook, it will launch a further window. So I need to share with you again. And so with this meeting and this window here, you can see that I've got my location of my Microsoft Teams meeting, and I've got my required people that I want to put into that meeting. And down here, I've got the link, the all-important link that they'll need to click on their other devices. So they'll need to put that license, sorry, not that license, that link, click that link in their into their join the meeting. So hopefully they're already logged into their email account, they can get into it as well. But this is the all-important email, and it doesn't matter, as I say, if they're not in your organisation. As long as they click that, they'll be able to join it as well. You can customize it. We've got our logo on there. You can do that for your organisation as well. Just give us a shout and we can show you how to do that as well. Okay, so we're going to move back over onto Teams now. and carry on working through that. So we can create our event, and then when our events are in our calendar, it will ask us to join them. So let's do one now. Bother Anne again. We'll send that. So I can click on the link and I can see if people have said that they're going to come in or not. It also gives me over here my other options to go into whiteboard for it. I can detail meeting notes, and I can go back to those meeting notes after I've done it as well. And also when I'm booking it, I've got my scheduling assistant, so I can see when they're free, and obviously you can read their calendar if they're in your Office 365 in there to see. So I can see all that. I can also make sure I've got some files ready to go if I need it for that meeting, and I can really prep myself by going through the different things here. So I can see that Anne's already joined that meeting, and she's in there as well. And then I can click join. If I click join, you can see my screen here, so I can turn off my microphone quickly before I come in. I always recommend do that, and I can turn off my my webcam if I want to do that as well. I can also set up different rooms, so you can set up different rooms in there for people to come into. But right now, I just want to go straight into my meeting, and I can click join now, and that'll let me join the meeting. And as I say, I've already got my other stuff on, so I'm in this meeting straight away, and it will be ringing for Anne, and she probably doesn't know quite what's happening. But I'll just go through these buttons down here, show you what you can do. So you can see who's in the meeting, who else has been invited, and you can invite somebody into the meeting live just by typing their email address in there. So even if you haven't included them in the original invite, okay, you can just put their information in there to get them come through through to that meeting as well. You can also see if they've muted their microphone as well, and you can actually, if they've not joined, you can click on there to ask them to join as well. So the next button along is my chat. So even if I have people who don't have a microphone or anything like that, they can still be part of it, watching what's on the screen, and they can also be in a live meeting chat down the side there as well. What I can also do down here is use some of the other settings. When I've got my video on, I've got the option here to blur my background, so that's quite a useful function as well. I can also, if I can't hear or it's picked up the wrong microphone, if you go to show device settings, I can quickly click into that and change my speaker, my microphone, or my camera if I'm lucky enough to have multiple of them. So at the moment, this is using the one on my Surface. Whereas to talk to you guys, I'm using my external webcam as well. So I've got all the options there if I want to. So if I just come off that, go press the button down here. So I've got all those options down there. And the next screen I want to show you is the share screen. So if I press the share button, it will allow me to choose what's on my screen, and I'll be able to share that. I'll also be able to share a whiteboard if I wanted to, so we can all just communicate and share a whiteboard together, or I can share any other thing that I've got on my screen. So it could be a desktop or a window. So I can share my screen. So I can quickly put that across for other people to see when they join as well, and they can share that. But I'm probably confusing it a bit by having quite a few things on my device at the moment. So that's a really useful tool. So we can carry on the voice conversations, we can carry on the teaching and learning with the webcam. Your webcam appears down the bottom side of the screen, and I can deliver my lesson to my class with my PowerPoint or other resources up on the screen, and I can record it. So when if somebody was to join, or even before, I can start recording. Okay, so that's really useful functionality to have. It will put it into stream, so only your school can watch it, or you can go back to it as well. You can also turn off the incoming video, so that turns off everybody else's video in the room as well, if you're in control of that. So I'll just come out of that and go back. So you always ask to rate it afterwards. If you're not happy, tell it, and hopefully they'll be able to do something about it. Now, the rates at the moment are for Teams are being affected by the global situation in traffic, but I've done maybe 15 or 16 calls in the last 2 days, and only one where it's had to reconnect me a couple of times when it's kicked out, and that's when I was using video as well. So that's quite good as well, and hopefully the quality of this is good. It's bit weird not having any feedback. I'm not sure if you can chat with me on it, but I know we've got 22 people watching it at the moment, so that's quite good for our first ever one. So if we come down here, we've already talked about the calendar, and lastly, we'll just come into the files here as well. So from here, I can share recent files that I've had, or I can have a look at something that's been shared in a meeting. So anything that's been shared in a meeting by anybody else will be in here as well. And it's just a global hub for all my files on there as well. So that is Microsoft Teams, and that is using it through the web. Pretty much everything you just seen is me using it through the web and on there. The system's really easy to use. It's free as well, so give it a try. If you need any help, I'll just show you how you can get some help from ourselves to support you with that. So let's go here. If you head to our help website, which is help.lordsit.org.uk, on the bottom right hand side here, you've got the quick start guide for Microsoft Teams. It's a really useful guide for how to use Office 365. For how to use Teams in Office 365. It's printable if you're lucky enough to have a printer at home. Those things that all your IT friends have been telling you not to have in the house because you don't need them and do everything on a computer. Now, if you've got one sat on your side, you might be feeling quite lucky about that. But in here, you've got your quick start guide. You've got your how to set up your class teams as well, how to share files, how to mark using the assessments and grades. Now, we will do another training session on that. I'll get it all set up properly, and we will do another training session on that as well. How to schedule a meeting with your team or your class. So your team could be who you want to meet with. Your class is obviously setting up those lessons. Schedule a meeting, continued, tells you about all the other options down here as well. Okay, and how to join a meeting. So if you have got a meeting in your calendar, you can just go into the calendar icon on Teams and click join now. That's a really good and easy way to do it. Down here, more information on joining it. And then everything we've just been through in terms of participating in the meeting. So all the different options that are available for you there and what you can do within that meeting. Also shows you about assignments and setting them. Again, we'll do that in a training session in future, but it's really easy. So give it a go. You can't really mess it up. And also about grades. Now, grades, you can literally mark the work within Teams and share those grades back with your class all within the one screen. So that's really important as well. And you can return and review the assignments using the feedback loop, so you can give them live feedback as well. So that deserves a whole session on its own, and I need to go through it myself as well and update myself, because it's not often I mark work, to be honest with you, or collect it in. You've also got the option to have a OneNote built in there. We'll cover that again in the future. Okay, and then it just says lastly about how to get onto there, how to send a message, how to make video calls, and how to app mention somebody. Actually, I didn't talk about how to app mention somebody, so I'll show you that before we go. And anyway, there's lots of stuff in that guide that you can do, that you can bring in. Let me just come back into my chat and just show you how to app mention somebody, because it is good to get somebody's attention. So if I wanted to add somebody, I press the add key and it shows me who's in the chat that I can add. So I can add Dan. I can add Anne, say thank you for your help, and they'll get an alert specifically for that message and say that they've been messaged, and hopefully they'll be more able to respond to that, and it'll bring it to their attention a little bit more as well. So that's been our first ever Team Lives event. I hope it's been useful for you. I hope it gives you a good overview of how to use Teams and a few hints and tips. In the future, we'll cover other things as well. Thank you very much for attending.